we'll get to meet our esteemed commencement speaker, Ms. Laysha Ward. But first, we have the rare and distinct privilege of bestowing on Ms. Ward the highest honor conferred by the University of Minnesota, an honorary doctorate of laws degree for public service. The honorary doctorate degree is only ever awarded to an individual who has achieved widely recognized preeminence in the area of cultural affairs in public service or in a field of knowledge and scholarship. Laysha Ward is Executive Vice President and Chief External Engagement Officer at Target, an organization she has been with for 28 years. She has been recognized often for her tremendous contributions to this community and around the world. She is the recipient of countless awards for her work, and I won't go into those details because you can read about those in your program. Instead, I would like to focus not on what Laysha has received, but on who I believe she is, because this is at the heart of why I personally believe she is so very deserving of this recognition. Ms. Ward has demonstrated that she will not rest until more women, more people of color, and representatives of other underrepresented communities are fully represented across all sectors, in all roles, and at all levels. In that pursuit, Laysha has used her worldwide platform and visibility to challenge practices and education systems that allow persistent achievement gaps to exist. She's used it to question policies that limit opportunity for low-income families and to hold up and amplify the importance of volunteerism, service, and culture as tools for civic engagement. I personally have followed Ms. Ward's impact throughout much of her Target career. In an earlier part of my career as a K-12 building principal and as a deputy superintendent, I deeply valued Laysha's highly engaged work for and with this community's public schools. And later, after I came to the Humphrey School, I learned through her strategic actions just how much can be achieved in that fourth sector, where people from industry, from government, and from community organizations work together to address our most vexing public challenges. She is a woman who convenes, she hosts, and she sets incredibly high expectations for our collective work and our collective impact. Most recently, I had the opportunity to see this boundary-spanning talent when both Laysha and I traveled with the Minnesota Orchestra to South Africa last summer. Wherever we went, in cities in South Africa and in the townships, at the home of the U.S. Ambassador to South Africa and in huts in the township of Soweto, I observed Laysha's incomparable ability to genuinely see and genuinely engage with people, regardless of their status, their role, or their title. It comes as no surprise to me that individuals from all over the country who happily, when asked, submitted letters of recommendation for this honorary doctorate spoke of the same thing. Their letters described a strategic leader who regularly engages with CEOs, with world leaders. Let me just digress my comments there for a moment and say, if you think you saw Laysha on the stage when Michelle Obama was in town, you did. And she engages with kindergartners. She is a leader who has a public policy background and the deepest commitment to public service. She has, for decades, worked tirelessly to advance the common good. The Humphrey School of Public Affairs has awarded very few honorary doctorates in its history. In fact, we have not awarded an honorary doctorate in a decade. And I am so very proud that today we do it again. So I invite to the podium Laysha Ward and also University of Minnesota Regent Ken Powell to confer the honor.
So I just have to say it is a special delight to recognize this afternoon someone who I know so very well, who spent much of her professional life helping to strengthen our Twin Cities. And I've seen her work over her very long career with my own eyes. So Laysha, it is so good to honor you today for everything that you have done. So I want to read an official citation now. Because you've dedicated your career to creating and nurturing relationships across private, public, and nonprofit sectors to drive positive community and business impact locally, nationally, and globally, because you're a mentor and champion for women, children, and people of color, and have brought tangible and lasting change to countless lives through your professional and personal endeavors. Because you are a purpose-driven leader who's passionately committed to combating disparities and creating opportunity for underrepresented groups, the Regents of the University of Minnesota, upon recommendation of the faculties, confer upon you, Laysha Ward, the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Wow. Good afternoon. Thank you, Dean Bloomberg, for this incredible honor. It's humbling, and I'm truly, truly grateful. Thanks also to Ken Powell and the other regents, faculty, staff, and students for inviting me to join you for this special occasion. I am so happy to be here. This is an honor I share with my amazing husband, Bill. You are my rock. My mom and dad, who believed in me even before I believed in myself. I love you. And the rest of my family and network of colleagues and friends. In turn, I want to congratulate today's graduates on your outstanding accomplishments. You did it. I also like to acknowledge the Humphrey School for being ranked among the country's top 10 public affairs programs. That's right. This ranking is a testament to the professors, staff, and students who carry on the legacy of Hubert Humphrey and his commitment to social justice and human diversity. I stand before you as a kid who grew up in rural Indiana, who attended Head Start, which is a preschool program for low-income kids. Little Laysha would have never imagined joining this prestigious community, or all the opportunities I've had in my lifetime for that matter. As the old saying goes, where you start out in life doesn't dictate where you end. I didn't get to this moment alone. As my grandma would say, there are a few things in life you do well by yourself. We all stand on the shoulders of giants, family, friends, mentors, teachers, all the people who supported us in our dreams. We owe it to them, ourselves, and future generations to pay it forward, to do more to advance the common good, more than what is comfortable, and more than we even believe is within us. Looking back over the years you've been in this program, you've crushed it and accomplished so much. Group projects, countless presentations, and I've heard about the special bonding that occurs for those of you who had to take regression. You've been working hard for this day to come, and many of you are asking, what now? What impact will I have on people's lives? How will I change the world? Who's going to pay off my student loans? I see some of your parents out there shaking their heads saying, not me. But for right now, I want you to be present, fully present in this moment, Soak this up. This is a celebration of you, and we need you. We need every single one of you. There is a loss of trust in our institutions, a division in our conversations. These are tough and uncomfortable times, and we feel it everywhere, from the halls of Congress to the dinner table. But we have reason for optimism and hope. There are heroes among us who refuse to give in to cynicism, leaders who believe they can change the world, leaders who are authentic and purposeful, leaders like you. A few months ago, I had an opportunity to meet with some members of your class, including today's incredible student speaker, Rachel Dane. I heard their stories, their hopes and fears. They didn't hold back. And I walked away with confidence in our future. As you take this next step on your life's journey, remember, you're not alone. Continue to nurture the relationships you've developed from your Humphrey experience, as Rachel mentioned. Relationships with your classmates, teachers, and other members of this remarkable community. Keep building real human connections, especially in this increasingly digital world. I like to say there's the family you're born into and the family you make. Stay engaged as alumni and listen for those aha moments from mentors and others who provide inspiration and guidance. It warms my heart to have a few of my sources of Black girl magic here today. Trailblazing African American women who've dedicated their lives to doing the hard and noble work. Dr. Retha Clark King, Wenda Weeks Moore, and Dr. Josie Johnson, some of the baddest sisters on the planet. Thank you. Thank you for all that you've done, including opening doors and breaking glass ceilings for me and so many others. Another mentor was Mrs. Coretta Scott King, the late wife of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and a champion of civil and human rights. I met Mrs. King back in 2001 as part of a project I was working on at Target. While she taught me many lessons, one of the most foundational was to live a purpose-driven life. A purpose or calling serves as your GPS. It guides your life and the decisions you make. With purpose, you find meaning and have impact. With purpose, you call upon courage in the most challenging of times. With purpose, you discover joy. You've chosen paths that position you to tackle some of our biggest challenges, from civil and human rights to climate change to intergenerational poverty, the myriad issues that help define purpose. Issues that demand our best thinking, immediate action, sustained commitment, and bravery. We can't be stopped by fear. Fear the issues we're tackling are too big, too risky, too difficult to measure. Leadership isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to move through it. You will create pathways to opportunities that will literally change the trajectory of people's lives for generations to come. Living a life of purpose starts one step at a time. And one of the first steps is being your authentic self. Unapologetically you, yet open to the stories and experiences of others. That's about building empathy. Now, don't just surround yourself with people who look like you, act like you, think like you, or talk like you. Different points of view and experiences can open the door to co-creating breakthrough ideas. Working together to find common ground and common sense solutions is possible. It's not always easy, especially these days when we often feel more divided than united. In order for us to move forward together and make progress, We sometimes have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Let me say that again. We sometimes have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I remember a time very early in my career when I was working with a group of cross-sector leaders. We started talking about preschool programs as a pathway to developing life and career skills. A member of our group threw shade at Head Start by saying, those people in that program are never going to be ready for the future workforce, characterizing the people and the program as deficit-based as opposed to asset-based. The comments were dismissive, totally disconnected from the dignity, the humanity, and the potential of the individuals and community. In that moment, I saw the faces of the kids, the families, and the teachers in my Head Start program who were taking steps towards a better life. I felt a responsibility to represent their voices. The room was loud and noisy, but I had a seat at the table, and so I said, I went to Head Start. Silence. But it turned out okay, because then the real conversation began. Many of you have had similar situations where you've been uncomfortable and had to work through the issue and the range of emotions you felt. And you had to decide if you were willing to speak up, even if it had negative consequences. We have to find the fortitude to lead, to ask probing questions, to say what needs to be said, and truly listen in order to facilitate courageous conversations. It's a skill set we have to work on, a muscle we have to build. My question for you is, how uncomfortable are you willing to get in service of your purpose? Your unique purpose matters. Your leadership matters. Your voice matters. Before I go, I want to share one more story. Many years ago, my boss was scheduled to speak at our company's big annual meeting, but couldn't because of a personal emergency. I was tapped to fill in. Now, this is a big event, over 10,000 leaders coming together to hear our strategy for the year ahead. I was one of a dozen or so speakers. All were seasoned executives, except for me, of course. And I had done almost no public speaking, and this was way outside of my comfort zone. It wasn't just nerves. As the first African-American woman to speak in that forum, I felt a heavy sense of obligation to the company, our employees, and all people of color. I wanted to effectively represent our shared story and to use that moment to open doors of opportunity for others. I needed a lifeline, and thankfully I had one. Mrs. King was backstage with me. I could have put on a brave face, and Lord knows I wanted to, but I managed to summon the nerve to tell her I was afraid. I had to be vulnerable, something I'm not very good at. This extraordinary woman laid her hand on my arm, looked me in the eye, and said, "You have earned the right to be here. Do what you have to do. Do what you've been called upon to do." Humphrey School of Public Affairs, class of 2019, you got this. You're ready to go out and do what you have to do, what you've been called upon to do. As you walk across this stage, remember, each of you has earned the right to be here. You are worthy. You are amazing. Step across this stage with confidence and courage. Step into hope, optimism, and opportunity. Step passionately into your purpose and into a world that needs you. This is your moment. This is your time. Congratulations, graduates.